Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, it's just amazing about this second Trump term. I think it's the fact that already in such a short period of time, they're already living up to the hype. In fact, I'd say they're even going beyond that. You know, we all had expectations going in, but it's politics, so you just baseline have to temper your expectations. But right off the bat, I mean, right as the gate opens, it's just looking like best case scenario. You know, we've been talking about so many concepts over the years, and one of those concepts has been this slow normalization of Trump, this humanization of Trump. It's what the left, I believe, has been trying to avoid so desperately. But despite all their efforts, it's been happening, and if anything, I think, you know, in a way, their efforts kind of helped in the process a little bit. And now it feels like Donald Trump is fully unleashed. It feels like the people are behind him. He's finally getting a fair shake. He's finally got the support and the platform to get things done, to actually be an effective president. And another concept we've been going on about for a really long time, what's known as a presidential honeymoon period, something Donald Trump was robbed of, deprived of during his 2017 initial run at the job. Well, you get where I'm going with this. Donald Trump is officially being awarded a presidential honeymoon with his approval rating skyrocketing to an absolutely incredible plus 18 positive spread. I gotta tell you, I didn't think this would happen. I thought Trump would get some decent approval ratings, slightly better than expected. But you know, of course, the left has worked so hard to turn him into such a controversial figure. I wasn't sure if the brainwash would wear off. I didn't see him going past, low 50s, but he is skyrocketing, defying all odds. It's so much better than we could have predicted, or at least it's on the high end of the prediction. It's the most optimistic prediction I think anybody could have made. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so let's just post this up on screen. Take a look at that. Donald Trump's approval. According to RMG Research, who surveyed 3,000 registered voters, Donald Trump's approval sits at 58% and his disapproval at 39%, putting him in a positive plus 18 rating. You know, it's just amazing to see. They've spent nearly a decade calling this man every name in the book. Fascist, racist, non-stop orange man bad rhetoric. And what did it get them? Absolutely nothing. Trump isn't just surviving, he's now thriving. And let's really delve into this presidential honeymoon concept. Every president has always had this grace period where the people, and most of the time the media, gives them a fair shot. People are optimistic. We got change, a new president. Essentially, the red carpet's rolled out for the president. And you'll see nearly every time when a president is inaugurated for their first term, they generally have very high approval rating. Barack Obama and George Bush, I believe, were in the positive 60%. Joe Biden mirrored that number, slightly lower. I think he was around 57-58%. But Donald Trump, during his first term, he didn't have that same experience at all. He was below 50%. And a little bit later, once they were pushing all the Russia nonsense, he even dipped below 40% in a lot of the polls. Well, not this time. Now Donald Trump is coming out swinging, ready to frickin' rock and roll, with the country behind him. And that right there is a beautiful thing. And it's also funny because, these leftoids have been going on and on about how Donald Trump doesn't have a mandate. He's got no mandate. Yeah, well, I'd say the numbers beg to differ now, don't they? The people are behind Donald Trump, and most importantly, they are behind his agenda. Despite the feigning of outrage from the left, actually. I want to play this clip. I think it's relevant.
Last night, President Trump plunged the country into chaos. Without a shred of warning, the Trump administration announced a halt to virtually all federal funds across the country. In an instant, Donald Trump has shut off billions, perhaps trillions of dollars that directly support states, cities, towns, schools, hospitals, small businesses, and most of all, American families. This is a dagger at the heart of the average American family in red states, in blue states, in cities, in suburbs, rural areas. It is just outrageous. Funds for things like disaster assistance, local law enforcement, rural hospitals, aid to the elderly, food for people in need, all are on the chopping block in this new administration. Why? They need tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy. And these cuts, they think, will fund them. And just like the January 6th pardons, this decision is lawless, dangerous, destructive, cruel. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. Plain and simple, this is Project 2025.
There's Chuck Schumer trying to paint this dismal picture of how bad things are going. The country has been plunged into chaos and it's a shock to everyone. Donald Trump is doing all these things out of left field. Is he really, though? Because actually what it feels like is more like Donald Trump is doing exactly what he promised. I mean, what's so surprising here? Democrats, of course, are trying to rewrite reality to make it seem as if Donald Trump is doing crazy things that are out of left field that the American people don't support. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Donald Trump is doing everything that he promised, and the people are behind him. And what's crazy is the people are behind him increasingly so. If we look at Trump's favorability numbers that were taken during the election cycle, so before he became president, he was below 50%. And so basically what we could gather from that is just in the last couple of months, Donald Trump has gone from, people are on the fence with him, they're not sure, to now a full-on presidential honeymoon where the people are behind him like never before. And well, Democrats, not so much. The Democrat brand, thanks to Joe Biden and everything that happened over the last 4 years, well, that brand is plunging. I'd say that's the only thing being plunged into chaos, little Chucky boy Schumer.
A good or great president at the end of their terms. Well, Barack Obama, 52% of Americans thought he was a good or great president at the end of his presidency, 2017. Donald Trump, very much behind Barack Obama at 36%. But look at how low Joe Biden is. My goodness gracious, you can't really get lower than 25% in our polarized era, because the bottom line is there's going to be a bunch of Democrats who would say that Biden was a good or great president no matter what he did. But yet it's only a quarter of the country who believes that Joe Biden was a good or great president. It is the lowest number since AP Nork started tracking this back at the end of Barack Obama's second term. Bottom line is Joe Biden goes out a very unpopular man at the end of a 50-plus year political career.
Yep, Joe Biden's hitting a rock bottom with only 25% of respondents, a humiliating 25%, classifying him as a good president. And what's funny is that CNN's polling analyst basically admits that this is rock bottom for the Democrats. You can't get anywhere lower than 25% because of the blue anon shills who will approve of Joe Biden no matter what he does. And what's funny is that Joe Biden's been going around the last couple of weeks telling people behind the scenes that he would have beat Donald Trump had Kamala not sidelined him. I mean, come on. It is freaking over. It is best case scenario, or other words, it's worst case scenario. It's the nightmare scenario the Democrats wanted so desperately to avoid. This is what the Lawfare campaign was about. This is why they did everything that they did. Their 2017 Plan B, right? Their insurance policy. They wanted to stop Donald Trump from becoming a cultural phenomenon. They wanted to dehumanize him, to label him as toxic. If you go anywhere near him, well, it makes you just as bad as him. They wanted to turn him into toxic goods because they knew if he got what he wanted, if he was given the opportunity to actually lead, well, then it would be over for them in their globalist ways. They wanted Trump to be a pariah, a little blip on the radar, because again, they knew the opposite would be their worst frickin' nightmare, and well, I think it's Democrat worst nightmare o'clock. It's no longer MAGA, folks. Officially, the meme becomes reality. It's now Mega MAGA. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.